place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you viewing in the Caribbean and those of you on the live, welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am Ria Richardson George. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Really happy to be in your company this morning. It is Thursday, the 26th of January, 2023, and we're coming to you live from the third floor Port Mall, Lower Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, we are in Tobago, and we encourage you to visit Tobago. If it's one place you need to visit before you leave this earth, it is Tobago. So we encourage you this morning to share the live with your friends and family. We've got quite an interesting program earmarked for you today. It's going to be quite a good program. We want to say good morning to Julian Ski. Julian is not with us for a couple of days, but Julian, we trust that wherever you are, that all is well. All right, and we look forward to seeing you back with us on Monday. Well, viewers, before we get right into things, we want to head over to our news in 90 seconds with Candice Jackson.
Thank you, Ria. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 25th January 2023. Speyside stakeholders agree that a user fee needs to be implemented for access to Little Tobago and the Marine Park. TADCO held stakeholder consultations last night on the introduction of a user fee. However, stakeholders expressed concerns about the structure of the user fee and its rates, and how it is to be implemented and integrated with tour guides, hotels, restaurants, and other related businesses. They also highlighted the need to include an effective model for security on the island, as well as its conservation. Little Tobago is a bird sanctuary, and together with the Marine Park, it falls under the UNESCO's Man and the Biosphere designation. Meanwhile, Tobago's medium bands are preparing for the preliminary round of the Panorama competition tonight. 3 bands qualify to take part in the competition. They are Carib Dixieland, NGC Steel Explosions, and Cats and Jammers. Carib Dixieland would be performing Lorraine, composed by the recently deceased Winston Explainer Henry. Meanwhile, NGC Steel Explosions present their rendition of Voices' hit Out and Bad. And finally, Cats and Jammers will play Baron's Tell Me Why. The competition kicks off at 7 p.m., starting at the Carib Dixieland Span Theatre in Mount Pleasant. And nationally, Trinidad is set to host the Caribbean Regional Freedom from Slavery Forum, bringing together anti-modern slavery stakeholders for discussions. According to a press release issued by the Free the Slaves TNT, stakeholders and representatives from international organizations will gather in Port of Spain from February 6 to the 8th to discuss pressing issues and potential solutions. The theme for the conference is enabling local engagement and global synergies to address modern slavery in the Caribbean. Since 2013, the forum served as a space for leaders of the anti-slavery movement to develop a shared agenda for potential action. That was in news in 90 seconds, and it is back to you, Ria.
All right. Thank you. Thank you there, Candice. Thank you so much there, Candice. And I think we're really happy to hear about the moves towards Little Tobago, putting measures in place. I tell you, viewers, if you've never been out there, it is a must visit, a must see. All right. I was privileged to have been there just about twice in my lifetime, and it's a beautiful place to visit. I mean, getting there just a little bit bumpy, but I know they're going to be putting things in place to ensure that the ride over from Speyside, from Speyside to Little Tobago is just a little bit smoother. But it is a must visit. Beautiful island indeed. Beautiful island indeed. Well, we're going to head right on into some of our birthdays, celebrations at this time. We've got a belated birthday going out to Richelle Reed Green, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. She lives out there in the U.S. She lives out there in the U.S. So Richelle, happy belated birthday going out to you from the entire Open Bible family. And yes, and this is her father, Bishop Royal Reed of the Mount Grace Open Bible Church, and responsible for the Open Bible churches here in Tobago, Bishop Royal Reed, who celebrated his birthday yesterday as well. So he shares that birthday with his daughter, and this is his last, yes, his last of 3. You know, given a chance, Bishop Reed would have had more than 3, but Pastor Roll, I'm going to leave it there, I'm going to leave it there. But I trust that you had a great one. I trust that you had a great one yesterday as well. And this is our girl, one of the beautiful bakeries, one of the wonderful bakeries out there in Roxborough, Tobago, Molly Melville, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. And Molly's treats are a definite taste if you're out in Roxborough. So happy belated birthday going out to you, Molly, and lots of love from all of us here at Tobago Updates. And this is Jillian Johnson, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. Jillian Johnson, belated greetings going out to you from Joel. Believe it, yes, Joel, your daughters, from the entire Updates family, from my family to yours. Lots of love going out to you, Jillian Johnson. This is Trisha Bocage Sobers celebrating her birthday today. So happy birthday going out to you, Trisha Bocage Sobers. Trust that you have a really great one. No, we did Jillian already. Yes, yes. And this is the beautiful, effervescent Jewel Green George celebrating her birthday today. Jewel, love going out to you today from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Trust that you have a great one. Junette Victor celebrating her birthday. Junette, lots of love going out to you from my family to yours and from all of us here at Tobago Updates. Have a great one. And this is Asha Kingdom Creations. Asha Toby Alfred celebrating her birthday today. Asha, love going out to you. Trust that you have a great one. From Tanessa Garnett and the children, and from my family to yours and all of us here at Tobago Updates. And this is our girl, Catherine Barnwell of House of Pancakes, located in Crown Point, Tobago. It's a must visit on I think on a Saturday, but any day that they are opened. Catherine Barnwell celebrating her birthday. I love going out to you today, Catherine Barnwell. Trust that you have a really great one. Maybe you can take some time off today. I'm not sure if you'll be allowed to, but trust that you have a really great one. All right, so like we said, viewers, lots of interesting things coming up on the program this morning. We also have some announcements just before we get into what's coming up. We've got some announcements here for you just to tell you what is coming up. So the Tobago Mass Band Leaders Monday Morning All 2023 is approaching. All registrations will be closed on Friday the 3rd of February. All who have not yet registered, please do so at the office, and which is located at Chopper Cultural Complex. For further information, you can phone 713-6405. 713-6405 if you have not yet registered your band for Carnival 2023, which is approaching very quickly. We've got less than 3 weeks or so to go. All right, so we just want to remind you of that. We want to say good morning to some of those lovely persons on the live with us this morning. Julia Brown, good morning. Alicia Devines, good morning to you. Travis Moses, Laura Bernard, Pearl Murray Beard, good morning to you. Marilyn Spence, Joe Field, Carol Fraser Davidson, good morning, good morning. Special good morning going out to my dad, Elton Richardson. Good morning there, Daddy. And to Auntie Dora Lyons, good morning, good morning. Auntie Debbie Gomez, good morning, good morning, good morning going out to all of you. And trust that you guys are having a really great day. So just to give you an idea of what's coming up on the program, I did mention to you that it's quite an interesting program lineup for you today. It is Thursday, the 26th of January, 2023. And, you know, like I said, it's interesting. All right, and just before we get into that, just to remind you here that Julian is not with us today and tomorrow, but quite an interesting program on today. So coming up just after the break this morning, we will be chatting with the Honorable Stuart Young, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries in Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago about the hydrocarbon energy to renewable energy. As well, Candice is going to be chatting with Newton George out there in Little Tobago. As she tours Little Tobago, I tell you, never a dull moment with Action Jackson. And then closing us off this morning, we've got Diamond Andrews, the president of ASI Tobago chapter. He's going to give us an idea of the upcoming local convention for 2023. We get some more details coming up on that. So that's our lineup for this morning. You know, viewers, we also see here in the news, in local Tobago news, where there is a sport team, a sport entity in Tobago that is calling on the assistance of Tobagonians, and we're going to get that information. We're going to get that information. We're going to get that information. Where is that information when you really need it? All right, we're going to get that information up in just a little while. We're going to get that information. That's right, we're going to get that information up for you in just a little while. All right, so just to let you know that that's what's coming up on the program this morning. We also see here in Trinidad the murder of an employee of American Airlines at Trinidad and Tobago son, who was gunned down in Wallerfield just a couple nights ago. And this is really sad. The father calling, his father, it's just really sad. The father indicating that he's going to miss his son. But this is really unfortunate. We just seem to be losing too many of our sons and daughters in some really senseless shootings. So, whatever you're doing, viewers, we remind you, pray for your country, pray for our country, Trinidad and Tobago. Remember to pray for Trinidad and Tobago. All right. So that's what's coming up on the program this morning. So this is your opportunity, viewers. We encourage you today to share the live, share the live, share the live.
And we party till we drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Socialize is yeah. Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Tobago.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
It's so much man good day. Socialize.
Socialize!
Freedom at last. Raise a glass.
Socialize!
27th of January. Look for where.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good
Viewers,
morning,
welcome back this morning. And that is a nice shot there. This is Stonehaven. This is Stonehaven. All right, this is a nice shot there of Stonehaven, one of the beautiful beaches out there in Tobago. And if you're not sure where Stonehaven is, that would be that Plymouth Road, along Plymouth Road. No, Mount Irvin. Black Rock. Black Rock, Grafton. That Grafton area. That's right, that Grafton area. I'm just thinking if that road takes you to towards Plymouth, but that's the Grafton area. That is correct. That is Grafton, and we encourage you to visit. It is a must visit as well. All right, it is a must visit. But at this time, viewers, we've got on the program with us the Honorable Stuart Young, Minister of Energy and Energy Industries in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to you, Minister Young.
Good morning, Ria. Good morning, Tobago. Ria, even I know where Stonehaven and that beach was. And I did not down in Plymouth and this Grafton.
You know, my
Good morning.
apologies. I was just thinking of that road taking you towards Plymouth.
Understood.
Yes.
Correct. As you continue along over the ridge. Morning,
know,
morning. You all know our economy is really based on the sale of oil and gas. Those are the two hydrocarbon fossil fuels. But when you're looking at all of the ill effects of global climate change just brought about by emissions into the atmosphere, etc., we have a responsibility, like every country in the world, to see how we could clean it up. We use natural gas to generate electricity, and we want to move towards the generation of electricity, which we all consume as citizens, towards renewables. So we negotiated hard, and it was a very difficult to get it across the line because I think people were not ready and accustomed to welcome the change that needed to happen with respect to many technical aspects of it. And we finally got done a 112.2 megawatt solar project in terms of signing it. It is a collaboration between Shell and BP, who are two of the largest energy players in Trinidad and Tobago and the globe, I dare say. And we're going to put down 2 solar farms in Trinidad that mount up to 112.2 megawatts. And that is going to come onto our grid, and it equates about 8% of the total electricity generation in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, we've immediately started discussions about Tobago. In fact, I was in 2 meetings earlier this week with the Honorable Prime Minister, with 2 of our larger players, Shell again and Woodside out of Australia. And he raised with both of them, what about Tobago? He wants to get some renewables done in Tobago. So I am going to be looking at that because I think that Tobago is the perfect place, and we must always make sure that you all are at the forefront of how can we work some renewables into your grid. Of course, our problem in these small islands, Trinidad and Tobago, is we don't have the land space the large developed countries have, and to put down solar panels to make it worthwhile and to generate sufficient electricity, you really need large land space. So we need to come up with more innovative ways how we can do it. I was happy that Woodside, who were formerly BHP, told us of 2 projects they already have at schools in Tobago. If I remember correctly, I think one was up in Roxborough, and the other one that they're looking at is in Scarborough for the Scarborough Secondary School. So these are the things that are taking place as we move more into renewables. We're also now looking at wind-generated electricity with those massive turbines, wind turbines, what we would call windmills. And, you know, I think there's potential. We're going to do some studies and see where in Tobago, because you all have some excellent winds coming in off of the Atlantic onto your east coast. So where would we be able to look to put down wind turbines as well to feed that into Tobago's electricity grid?
Now, Minister Young, you indicated that earlier on when these talks first started that Trinidad and Tobago was not yet ready for this discussion. With the increase in electricity, even as we speak, do you think that we are now ready for such a venture?
We are very often in life, you know, the first across the line is the most difficult. So I'm hoping now that we got all of the various ministries on board. It was, you know, Ministry of Public Utilities. I'd like to thank my colleague, Minister Marvin Gonzalez, for helping me to get this thing across the line. And other ministries working with the Ministry of Energy to sit and to negotiate such a significant solar project. I mean, it is the largest in the CARICOM, right? I say English-speaking CARICOM because in the Dominican Republic, they have some big solar farms as well, but they have massive land space. So I'm hoping now that we've done it and the public service has become accustomed to it, and we all now understand contractually how it should be done, working with Tech as well, that there will be more to come. What I can tell you, that we're looking at is, you see how Barbados, I mean, since I was 16 years old and you go to Barbados, when you're flying in, you used to see on every rooftop, their water heaters were being powered by solar. So they have something called a feed-in tariff, where basically private citizens can put up solar panels on your roof, in your property, etc. And if you have excess electricity generated, you send it back into the national grid, you sell it back, in our case, the TNTech, the government, into the national grid. That is something we're looking at. It requires amendments to the law, and we're coming with a feed-in tariff policy. Because I strongly believe we should give our citizens the opportunity to do their own renewables. And if you have excess electricity generated, can we feed it back into the grid? When you start to look at those types of initiatives, it may help us with the cost of electricity. But I hasten to say, Aria, we have the lowest electricity costs in the Caribbean by miles. And that is because years ago, decades ago, our forefathers decided to use our natural resource of natural gas to generate electricity. But it has become more costly over time, and that is something that the RIC and others will look at. But we still have the cheapest electricity. What we need to get to is energy efficiency. So if we all turn off our lights and we all use our electricity more properly, if I could put it that way, use it properly and don't waste electricity in our terms, then it would bring down the cost and it would make the whole grid more efficient. But because the electricity is so cheap, we all have a tendency to leave on lights, to stand in front of the fridge open, sometimes to leave on air conditions, to have the fans going when nobody's home, and these types of things. When you go to other countries where there are prohibitive electricity costs, you don't see that happening at all. So I think we also need to change our culture and get into more efficient use of our electricity.
And how do we plan on doing that? Because we come from a society, according to you, where we stand in front of open the refrigerator, we stand in front of it.
I do it.
You stand in front of the refrigerator, we leave the lights on, no one is in the room, all the lights are on in the house, and you're sitting in the living room. How do we begin to change that mentality, that mindset, that culture, to a greener sense of conservation?
I think it has to be multifaceted. You see, our young people, I've been interacting quite a lot in the last few months with our young people, primary school level and secondary school level. In fact, yesterday afternoon at the Energy Conference, I popped in and gave a surprise visit to a room full of secondary students. And they are understanding it. So if we give them the tools, meaning the educational tools, explain to them why conservation of electricity is important, that's a great start. I remember years ago when my youngest son was in primary school, and he came home one evening and he just walking around switching off lights. And I looked at him and said, "Hey, what you doing?" He said, "We are wasting electricity. This is not a good..." And, so it showed me that one example had a lasting effect on me to show me when young children understand something and they buy into the concept, how they can drive that change from the younger age up. At the older age, Rhea, I can't include you in there, but like myself, you might be in the young people category, but like myself, we have to change our culture. We have to understand that we cannot waste electricity. So it's something I personally try to do when you're leaving the house for work, switching off all the lights. Every day now at the Ministry of Energy, when I leave my office, I ensure I switch off the lights. But I'll tell you something, government is one of the worst offenders. The Honorable Prime Minister speaks about it all the time. Rhea, you go and drive around, especially here in Trinidad, at night, and look at schools. All the schools have their lights on. You look at government buildings, a lot of them still have lights on. So since 2016, 2017, we have been trying to mandate ministries, turn off your lights, mandate state enterprises, turn off your lights. But even changing that culture is very difficult. In one of the previous offices I held, as a minister, the physical office had no light switch to turn off the light. It drove me insane that, I'm leaving the office. I remember the first time I'm leaving the office and I'm like, okay, where's the light switch to turn off the lights in your... Sir, there's no light switch to turn off. I say, so we just burning electricity 24/7 here? Yes, sir. So we have to change that mindset. And I think the younger generation, because they are seeing and they're going to suffer the ill effects of the climate change, and they're understanding it. So what I was telling them is we have to find a balance. You don't go to the extreme and say, all hydrocarbons are evil and we must stop oil and gas. No, gas is going to be around for many decades. It is the cleanest fossil fuel, and the world understands, and we understand, that we have to generate energy for daily life. Because if you have no electricity, there really is a different standard of living, and you can't get as much stuff done, right? So I think the younger generation will find that balance. That's the conversation I am having with them. Bring your innovation, bring your out of the box thinking. How do you think we should improve these energy efficiency and to clean up the place and have less waste and these types of things?
All right, you know, over 70 years ago, when my grandfather was alive, my father tells the story of my grandfather walking into the house and turning off all the lights that were on at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, all the unused lights,
Right.
just taking them off and saying, you know, no butter for a week because of the cost
Cost.
of electricity back then. So fast forward 70 years later, we now have, you know, inordinate uses of electricity, persons just using it willy-nilly. But very quickly here, in terms of how Trinidad and Tobago's step forward in this new direction, how does this impact the Caribbean?
We are recognized as one of the leaders in the Caribbean. I mean, I think it's fair to say, especially in the energy landscape, we are the leader in the Caribbean. Now we have Guyana and Suriname finding massive, well, Guyana has already started the exploitation of their massive fields of oil. Suriname, they believe they're having some significant finds as well. So one of the concepts we're looking at, and I've been pushing, Ria, is together. The vision that we have is if we can work closely with Guyana, Suriname, and there's some potential in Barbados and Grenada, we could provide energy security for the region. And you would have seen very recently, a couple of days ago, we did something that globally many didn't think could happen. We've worked hard, the Prime Minister and myself, and we delivered for Trinidad and Tobago that the United States Treasury has given us permission to go ahead and develop the Dragon gas field in Venezuela and bring that to Trinidad and Tobago. We got an exemption from the sanctions, a waiver of certain sanctions that allows us to do that. So the vision is, and in that conversation, we told them we will assist in providing energy security for the CARICOM, for the region, and even Europe by selling LNG to Europe and this type of thing. So we are going to drive those conversations, but I really want to work closely with our CARICOM brothers and sisters, because Ria, I believe strongly that we have to work together. We are developing countries. I look at the wealthy European countries and the wealthy countries of the world, and if you look at it, they became wealthy hundreds of years ago by exploiting places like the Caribbean and Africa. And I think it is time that we in the Caribbean, Latin America, and Africa work together to protect our own resources. We have the intellectual capabilities. Some of us have been doing this for decades in the energy sector. Let's work together. Let us see how. And I've been speaking to the African countries every time I get out there, especially last year in 2022, that listen, we can help you to develop your hydrocarbon resources. You deserve energy security on your own resources. And this is something I'm very passionate about, that it is time now that we work together. Let's start in the CARICOM region. We have some significant hydrocarbons, we have significant oil and gas. Let's start by helping our CARICOM brothers and sisters. If we produce LNG, we're now looking at how do we get some smaller ships to take the LNG up the islands. Jamaica can use LNG, Barbados is looking at it. But I really, really believe strongly now is the time, and we have to take the hard decisions. Ourselves, Africa, Latin America, let's work together. It's time that we are allowed to have the benefits for us to become those developed countries in the world, because it's our resources, and that's why I've fought so hard in the last 6 years to get better revenue for Trinidad and Tobago. That gas belongs to you, Ria. It belongs to your dad. It belongs to all the aunties you were saying good morning to, and the people and happy birthday. It belongs to me. It's the citizen zone, and when you have that mindset, it helps you to fight for better prices for Trinidad and Tobago, and we've achieved that. So those are, in a nutshell, that's how I see it.
All right. So Minister Young, what would be your message to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and our viewers worldwide?
The message is we are blessed in Trinidad and Tobago. Our energy sector has been at the forefront, at the global forefront, and I think we are poised to take us to the next level. The infrastructure that we have put down in Point Lisas gives us a natural advantage. How do we utilize that? How do we continue utilizing this for Trinidad and Tobago? Because I am always conscious about it is Trinidad and Tobago and the benefits that we get for Trinidad and Tobago. So my closing message on that then, Ria, is don't discount Trinidad and Tobago. Love your country. Every one of us has a job to do to promote our country. And how do we fight to get our country a better place and better revenue, in my case, for Trinidad and Tobago from the oil and gas. For Tobago, how do we drive the Tobago economy? How do we get the Tobago tourism going? And I can tell the people of Tobago, thank you for this opportunity, Ria, that you all are not going to get left behind in this transition to renewables. Because every single time I'm discussing projects at the Ministry of Energy, so for example, electric vehicle chargers, I say, and we have to do it in Tobago. I say, the renewables, okay, let us look at Tobago and work with Tobago. Where can they put down the solar farms? Where can we work into some wind generated turbines for Tobago? How do we clean it up? How do we help Tobago to make sure that you all are there at the forefront as well?
All right, a question coming in here very quickly, Minister, on the live. How are we using those gas to build our production and non-energy sector?
Perfect. I mean, the gas feeds in to most of it to LNG, things like ammonia, methanol, urea, UAN. But you'll also be surprised to know a lot of our light manufacturing industries, the cement, the production of glass, some of our those types of manufacturing industries, a lot of them use small amounts of the gas, right? And that is what we're doing there. What we're going to be coming with hopefully very soon for diversification of our economy is we believe the maritime industry presents a perfect opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago again. Because, and again, we're blessed geographically. We are outside of the hurricane belt. We're perfectly poised as international ships come through the Panama Canal and are going down to South America, come into Trinidad and Tobago, dock in our dry docking facilities that we're looking to build, and we can get a maritime industry going that earns us foreign exchange as well.
Right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the program with us this morning, Minister Stuart Young. We trust that you have a great day, and thank you again for the information. Even you know where Grafton.
Listen, that's what I'm thinking. You said about 3 times in the opening, come to Tobago, come to Tobago, come. I am dying to get there. So I will be there hopefully very soon to take a little Tobago love.
That's right. Thank
you
so
you,
much.
Ria.
Thank you so much. So we look
have
forward
a great
to seeing
and
you.
Blessed day.
And you as well. Thank you so much. There we have it. There we have it. There, viewers. We have it there. So we're gonna leave it there. Viewers, lots more coming up on the program this morning. You know, even as we focus on just before we take that break, even as we focus on what the minister was speaking here on renewable energy. You know, as I was mentioning earlier, I remember the days my father telling us the story of my grandfather coming home from the business at Little Goose on Prince Street, and indicating that, you know, too many lights were on. My grandfather wouldn't say much, but he would just take the lights off and just indicate no butter for a week, because the money that they would have used to purchase butter would now have to go into paying for the electrical bill. Yes, that's how it was, and I'm talking over 70 years ago. You know, and we see now where there seems to be no care in the world when it comes to electricity. And then we look at the increased cost, the increases in rates at TNTech, and you wonder, well, what's happening, because salaries have not increased, and you wonder how you're going to survive. And as we move into the technological, as we are already into the technological age, every device, everything requiring the use of electricity, how then can we conserve? How can we reduce on one end, conserve on one end, and still be able to benefit? All right, so lots of discussions, and again, education. The more we talk about it, and we show the benefits to going in this direction, we are going to appreciate what we have and what we're able to attain. So viewers, lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. We've got Candace going on tour over at Little Tobago. You don't want to miss this. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Sweets presents Sweet Soca, the all-inclusive edition, featuring the Vice Queen of Soca, Van Lyons Alvarez.
Let's go, let's go!
And the Viking of Soca, Bungie Garland.
I'm not going no small fret. Let me extend my apologies.
Welcome to an all-inclusive premium experience with an all-star DJ cast, live steel band, a fully stocked premium bar, and cuisine from around the world, and many more surprises. This is a staycation package you don't want to miss. For more info, call our hotline 612-3835. It's the Comfort Inn and Suites Sweet Soca, the all-inclusive edition, Saturday, 4th February 2023.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. I am Candace Jackson and I am on Little Tobago, out in Speyside, just enjoying the views, enjoying the feel and views. Let me tell you something. I've been here several times. It's really one of those magical places here in Tobago, but the best time to be here on Little Tobago is at sunrise. Let me tell you, that sun just peeking up through the hills and so on. Even as we're going on the water, it wasn't always, sometimes it's a little bit rough, but that's okay. That's why we have our very good boat captain, Troy, who made sure that the ride was as smooth as possible. But that sunrise, man, it's amazing. You need to be here around sunrise. Try it, because you know, Little Tobago is a very special place. It is a bird sanctuary, so if you're a bird enthusiast, of course you want to come here and check out the birds. But not just that, if you're just somebody to just love nature, love just being outside, look at this. You can't get better than this. Alright, so yes, we are on Little Tobago, and then last night we would have had consultations regarding the implementation of a fee for Little Tobago, to visit to Little Tobago, as well as a structure for how it should be managed. So let's, as I'm taking a breath, let me introduce you to none other than award-winning tour guide here, especially when it comes to bird watching, none other than Mr. Newton George. Good morning and welcome to you.
Welcome, Candice, and it's a pleasure having you on this island, Little Tobago.
Yes. So first of all, I mean, for those viewers that are watching and then enjoying this, you've seen Little Goat Island, and then the town of Speyside, well, village of Speyside, town of Speyside, whatever you want to call it. You know, what is the history of Little Tobago?
Okay, Candice, this island was a privately owned island by an English guy by the name of Sir William Ingram. And when Sir William Ingram went to Papua New Guinea, where the birds of paradise originated from, he thought it was important to introduce them on Tobago because they were destroying the birds, and they were very colorful birds. So he came to Tobago looking at this island with the same climatical conditions of those of Papua New Guinea. And then he brought 12 pairs of bird of paradise on this island, and then he changed the name of the island from Little Tobago to Birds of Paradise Island. And it has become a very, very important island for birders, especially foreigners. They do come to this island to look at the birds.
And of course, viewers, if you want to know what the bird of paradise looked like, because unfortunately when we had Hurricane Flora in 1963, all of the birds as well as the food that they fed on was destroyed. However, there are specimens of the bird at the Fort King George, in the museum at the Fort King George, so you want to go and check that out. But, like I said, we're here now, and the Little Tobago Island is under the management of the THA. What has been happening since?
Well, since it has become under the THA, they have done some really development work on this island. Within the last year, they have put rails from on the beach. They have put rails from on the beach, so you can hold on the rails to come up to the main house.
Especially at the jetty.
The jetty has been repaired.
Listen, you no longer have to break your foot getting off that boat.
Correct, the jetty has been repaired. The building also has been repaired. And they have started to do some repairs on the major bird site, the Birds of Paradise Part 2, which is the major area for photographers to photograph these birds. So they are doing some really, really, really important work on the island. And this is why it's important that they put a fee in place for people to come to this island, because it has been done internationally. Wherever you go in this world, people pay to go to areas, things like this. And Tobago offers, you can see, a major, major, major site.
Yes.
So people should pay to come to this island.
So as we're taking a walk, I mean, because I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where we are going to be seeing some of the toilet facilities, washroom facilities going to be placed in here?
Yes, yes, they are. Presently, it is not in use, but because the way the house is constructed. But I think they can use solar panels with some kind of something to get the water to go into the washrooms. And it's easy. It can be easily done. And that's an easy way in getting the washrooms workable. Presently, they are not usable because the tanks are not catching the water, or not getting any water to go into the tanks. So presently, we encourage patients to come into the island, make sure they use the washrooms ashore before they come to the island.
Right, and of course, again, that is, we want to emphasize, that's one reason why we need to, you know, have that fee here, so that we can ensure that we can buy the equipment and make sure that we have the maintenance here, so that when visitors come, they are, you know, taken care of. There are some amenities here, not too much, because of course they want to keep the island natural.
Correct, Candice. I think that will also help to enhance the beauty of the island. The way you can see the aesthetics on the island as well. It's very, very important that people pay, because I can offset a lot of costs and using the monies that they paid to do some work on the island.
So how many birds of paradise?
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Scary. Yeah. Jesus Christ, mother walk, look at people behavior. Yeah. We getting on bad, we up in your area. Yeah. When you see we coming, you know it's danger. Yeah. We better than you and all of your neighbor. Yeah. And we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing.
Buffet, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial, massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tattoo will always be here for you.
Tattoo, where people are people. You know what I mean.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Welcome to Lamar Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Lamar Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Scary. Yeah, boom. Jesus Christ, mother walk. Look at people behavior. Yeah, we getting on bad, we up in your area. Yeah, when you see we coming, you know it's danger. Yeah, we better than you and all of your neighbor. Yeah, and we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. Cause we no afraid, we no afraid.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry if you're nice, can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tattoo will always be here for you.
Tattoo, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Rest assured helps me to cope with the unexpected, provides financial help for final expenses. Rest assured, the affordable financial comfort plan, Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection. Whole Life helps me secure their future, provides financial protection with added benefits. Whole Life, the affordable financial benefits plan, Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
Lifespan is the affordable critical illness plan you need. Cover expenses up to $1 million. Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, buljoil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Lots of interesting things happening here on the show this morning. Remember, viewers, we're coming to you live from the 3rd floor, Portmore, Lower Scarborough, and it is indeed a beautiful day. We are chatting this morning with Brother Diamond Andrews, who's the president of ASI Tobago chapter, as we focus a little bit on the local convention for 2023, the Tobago chapter's local convention for 2023. Good morning, welcome to you, Brother Diamond.
Good morning, Ms. Rhea. So good to see you.
Always.
Yes,
always.
Let's have a good time together.
Yes,
Back
we will.
bench
You know,
and so
Brother
on.
Diamond, I'm always happy to interview, always happy to be in your company.
I'm glad to hear that. Thank
Yes.
you so much. Good morning,
Always.
Tobago.
Yes.
There's a beautiful background there, seeing. Yeah, that's nice.
Yes, one of the waterfalls.
Yes.
All right,
Praise
so
God. I said, praise God.
Praise God. That's a moment to
Yes.
say amen. That's right. Praise
Amen.
God. Now let's talk a little bit about what's been happening with ASI. For those persons who are joining us for the first time, give us an idea of what ASI stands for and what it means within the body of Christ.
Good. ASI, the acronym ASI, Adventist Layperson Service and Industry. And we are just a bunch of people who are business people, professional folks, And when I say professional, I'm talking about professional in all ways. You're a carpenter, you're a professional. You're a plumber, you're whatever you're doing. That's your area. And then we have business people like me, and Brother Lyndon Antoine, Damien Edwards, and those business people. And so we come together in the Seventh-day Adventist Church as a group of people who just want to do something extra, push an extra mile. And so we help people, we help anybody, anyway. You don't have to be Seventh-day Adventist. Once you're a human being, we help. So if somebody want to step on a house and a this and whatever, your galvanized going through and you need some help and you're going to the government and they're telling you come back next week, we don't say come back next week, we say we are coming. And when we say we are coming, we mean we're coming now. And so sometimes we have the hitches that, we want to get something done and it is drafting out, going out for a long time. Some people have to call meetings and the meeting didn't come off, and next week, we have a meeting on the phone. I'll call up my folks under me, say, listen, we want $50, right? So the roof costs $50, just using a figure.
Right.
So okay, Lyndon, I need 25. Damon, I need 25. Or maybe we say 5, everybody
Right.
put 5. The work is done and we get it going. So, that's one of the things that we do. And within the church, we do everything within the church as usual. We continue with our fine doctrines, and we keep everything in line. But it's just like it's just a body, a part of the body of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a part of the body of Christ. And so we do everything as far as the gospel is concerned. We preach, we have crusades, we run programs, we do health lectures, we do everything. But it's just that we don't depend on the Tobago mission to say, well, we don't have money, could you help us? We as the business people, apart from returning our tithes and our offerings and so on, then we put
And
down
that's
extra
important.
money. Yes,
Very
of
important.
course. And so we put now some extra monies to help those things to move on. And very importantly, our motto in ASI is to make sure we have Christ somewhere in our marketplace. So like in Mr. D's Health Food, when you come there, you could dance. There's music.
That's
you could
right.
listen to a sermon.
And you don't compromise on that at all.
No. Nobody comes in and says, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that. I'm in charge. I run my program.
That's right.
That in Lyndon Antoine, you go by him, he's something, Damien, Norton in his car, Jemo in his maxi taxi. Everybody have their story put out, and this is what we share in our marketplace.
Blessed to be a blessing.
Amen.
That's right. Now, ASI Tobago chapter is hosting their annual convention. Tell us about the convention.
All right. Well, folks, we are on our 20th convention.
This year.
This is number 20. We started in 2003, and we are here now. We brought in people from all over, bring them to share the gospel with us. So this year, we are running as usual from Sabbath coming here, which is the 28th. Yes, 28th. And we are going to the 4th of February. So we're going from Sabbath to Sabbath. It's going to be a great time. We are opening Sabbath, as you can see the flyer running there. We are opening Sabbath with a young man by the name of Dr. Oscar Ocho. I don't know if you ever run into that guy. Oscar is the director for the Nursing Institute of Trinidad and Tobago. He is the person in charge of all the nurses in Trinidad and Tobago. And he's going to be opening on Sabbath and then Sunday night. Then we're going to change to Dr. Sam Lal Singh, which is Gandalal Sam Lal Singh. He's going to be doing Monday night and Tuesday night. And then from Pastor Gandalal Sam Lal Singh is the director for ASI in the Union of Seventh-day Adventists. In other words, he's the boss. He's the big boss in the union. Right. And then from Wednesday night, we are going to go to Dr. Anthony Hall, who is going to be speaking from Wednesday right back to Sabbath. He is the president of the East Caribbean Union of Seventh-day Adventists. That is Barbados and all those islands going up the road there. And so he's going to be with us. We are hoping to have a great time. Every night, we want to do something special. Every night, there's going to be music. Every night, there's going to be picking up of offerings to help to defray. These things are not cheap. As you will know, Ria, anything you're doing on television is expensive.
That's right.
And so we are streaming all over the world, on YouTube, Facebook, and so on. But every night, we want to give away some food. Every night, we're going to give away at least 2 hampers every night until we finish. And so we have it already set up, and people are going to come and they're going to tell us, okay, I have a neighbor, this is how it's going to be going. I have a neighbor who needs some food. Could you help? Yes, give us information and we will respond. Right? And then we have, at the end of the program, we're going to be having our pinning ceremony. New members are coming in and so on. We know that you've been to Grenada with us.
Yes.
You remember that time? We had a wonderful time when you came up there with us. And I'm inviting you publicly. I'm telling the whole of Tobago that Ria is supposed to be there on Sabbath. I don't know how you're going to handle that now. Let me see what you're going to tell the people.
Brother Diamond is putting me on the spot here now, isn't he? Now, let me ask you, ASI, this convention is going to be face-to-face. But for persons who cannot make it face-to-face, there's also an opportunity to view online.
Of course.
What are some of the platforms, the online
you
platforms?
go type in ASI Tobago or ASI Tobago chapter. And as soon as you get there, you're going to see convention is going to show up. That's going to be the main focus. So it's going to show up real fast.
Okay.
If you want to see anything else, you could go on the same ASI chapter, ASI Tobago.
Tobago chapter.
Yes, because there are chapters all over the world. All over the world, over the Caribbean, all over Grenada and St. Vincent, Dominica, and so on, all in Australia and Grenada and wherever, all over the world.
Right.
So you have to type in Tobago chapter, ASI Tobago chapter, and it's going to come up. So we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and there are some other little stories going on that I don't know much about. I understand we are there now, right? Brother Woods and those guys will tell us better. Yeah.
So it's happening from this Sabbath, which is Saturday coming, and from what time?
We are beginning at 9:15, and we will be at the Good News Seventh-day Adventist Church. The Good News Seventh-day Adventist Church is ASI Church. Hey, let me say that. And most of our conventions were held there, and it's going to be held there again this year, because it's the kind of easiest church to get access to. People coming from Charlottesville, Speyside, from Lansome area, you come into town, you're in Scarborough. So you don't have to take another taxi to go, and then take another taxi, come back to Scarborough, and then find your way home. So you come to Scarborough, and there is parking. I know we have parking there. We have parking right there in the Port Mall in the night, nothing much going on, because people can park and walk down the road. I didn't ask Mr. Tam anything about that as yet, but I know it's not a problem. So good news, 9:15, and then we are going to go, we're going to 9:15 on Sabbath morning.
Right.
We are going to go until about maybe 1. We're going to have lunch, we're going to close for the day, and then we are going to go on from Sunday night. We are starting Sunday night at 6:30, because we want to give Dr. Oscar Ocho a little time to deal with the young people and talking to them about their problems and sickness and so on and so on. That's what he specializes in. So we're going from 6:30, so we could give him at least an hour 15 minutes to rally through with the young people. Everybody could come. Everybody's all are invited.
Right.
But we deal with the youth and their problems and how they could handle it. He's really good in that area. So we're inviting all the young people in Tobago. Everybody, whether you be Baptist, Pentecostal, Methodist, wherever, we are inviting you to come by and listen to this man.
Now, Brother Diamond, you spoke earlier about some of what ASI does in Tobago in terms of assisting persons. How can persons reach out to you? Is it a one-man thing? How can persons reach out to the ASI organization, ASI chapter?
You could call any one of us. Lyndon Antoine is the vice president.
Right.
You can call him at 688-7854. I'm just bunking some numbers.
Brain still sharp. Brain still sharp.
At my old 70 and odd years, I'm still there. The brain is still working.
That's right.
So if we go to Damian Edwards, who is the PRO, you can call him at 682-9245. And if you want Diamond, you could call Diamond at 721-6409. Those are the numbers that you could contact really, really, really quick. And if you want our treasurer and you want to talk with him, you could call him at 7666000.
Wow, talk about putting our youth to shame.
Yes.
How many of us can rattle off at least 4 numbers without referring to our phones?
Right.
Big challenge, huge challenge. He just did it.
Yes. And you can, we are also we work together with our mission. And so we could always call the mission and say, well, listen, I have a problem, so. Could you contact ASI for us? we're not getting them on the phone because sometimes we businessmen, our phones might be running crazy.
Yes.
But at the mission office, you could always get 639-220-222, I think it is. Let me see, I get that right? 639. I think that was the number, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I want to thank you, Brother Diamond. Always a pleasure having you on set. Always a pleasure being in your company.
Thank you so much. Always been in your company also.
Thank you. And all the best to ESI. So the convention starts on this coming Sabbath, which is the 28th of January from 9:30 a.m.
Right.
All right. At the Good News
Seventh-day Adventist Church. Right at the Esplanade there.
That's right.
Yes, everybody knows where the Esplanade is. Everybody knows where the Good News Church is. We have done, over the times, we have done so many funerals, so many weddings. So people come there all the time for that. We offer that facility. People could come and bury their dead without any money, any charge.
Wow.
Right. Good news.
That's right. At the Good News.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, there, Brother Diamond, for chatting with us this morning. Viewers, we're going to leave it there because lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates program. We've got GMT. Candice is coming up with GMT in just a little bit. She's got quite an interesting program. So we encourage you to stay tuned, stay locked on. To those of you viewing us from Gael and M&E TV, or whether you are viewing on the YouTube channel or right here on Facebook. We encourage you this morning to share the live, even as we head on over to GMT. So have a great day, Tobago. Continue viewing Tobago Updates. Have a great day. Bye-bye, everybody.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable. Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gael. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. And everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show. And everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Yeah. Hey.
Updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hail my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated one.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson. And well, viewers, we have a jam-packed program for you this morning. Now, we're starting off some conversations about, Little Tobago and what's supposed to happen there, and putting a structure in place as we move forward with our tourism product, as we move towards, enhancing our tourism product and making sure we can get a revenue that the best revenue possible. So on set with us this morning is none other than Mr. Ricardo Alfred, the chairman of the Tobago Agribusiness Company Development Company, better known as Tobago. Good morning and welcome to you.
Yes, so good morning to Tobago.
And of course, before we get into our conversation, I want to apologize, of course, for the little technical difficulties we experienced earlier regarding that interview I had with Mr. Newton George on Little Tobago. Now, don't worry, because we'll be posting that later on today. So you want to look out for that because, for those of you who have never been to Little Tobago, who have not experienced it, that is such a good way for you yourself to, see what's offered and then buy into what we're doing here. So last night, TADCO went to Speyside and met with stakeholders as they discussed the implementation of a user fee. Now, from one of the things that came out of that stakeholder meeting was that there is consensus. There's consensus from the stakeholders that we should implement a fee, Mr. Alfred. So I don't know if you could expand a little bit on that and, what are we thinking in regards to how are we structuring that, that whole project?
Right, so just to bring some background into Little Tobago, so it currently costs an average of $50,000 a month to maintain the island. The idea behind this user fee is done by under the Division of Forestry, led by Mr. Darren Henry, who is very passionate, I would say, about Little Tobago and the different aspects of what happens across there. So the idea in mind is that how do we reduce this $600,000 a year fee that we have to pay in terms of maintenance, to pay the workers, the vessels to go across to carry the workers. Little Tobago is a very nice place in terms of what it can offer, the different environs in terms of the bird watching, but it will be a package. So the idea is to create a package in terms of the different dive sites, persons who want to see the different birds, the hikes, the boat tours. So it's going to be a nice package. We were there in collaboration with the division. We had some forestry officers there who were very interested. So they are going to be the lead on this. Mm-hmm. We are just really assisting them in terms of the marketing part of it, in terms of creating packages, something similar to what we're doing with the Le Coco Estate. So definitely persons will now have a better appreciation of our package tours as relates from diving to see the different bird watching, and then you will have the boat owners and them will now have a better refined experience as relates to their vessels. As you know that if you are a vessel carrying passengers, the registration has to change.
Yes.
I mean that it must be a TL registration. And well, it's a very jam-packed week because tomorrow we have those discussions. Another discussion on that as well. So,
but before we get into that, because I also wanted to spend some time talking about our vessels and getting them properly licensed, etc. But I want to focus a little bit on Little Tobago itself and packaging that whole thing. Now, you said that it costs just about $50,000 a month to maintain with its current structure.
Yes.
So how are you proposing, like, what are the fees that we are proposing going forward then to sort of offset that cost? Is it that we want the whole entire cost to be offset now, or?
No. So what is going to happen? The public consultation yesterday was just to tell them what our idea is. We're going to be meeting with the tour guides. We're going to be meeting with the boat operators, meeting with different persons from the village who we believe that could add a value, because we're looking at an experience. It could be a space-side experience.
Yes.
Meaning that you would have those who may have the money to stay in a hotel based on the advertisement, and then you will have those who will have the money to stay in a guest house. So it will definitely benefit the persons who have their bed and breakfast close by, the people who have their different artisan stuff in terms of types of food, space side have to offer, that kind of experience. So it's along those lines really, while creating that package really. So you would have something to do in the day, and then possibly you have something to do in the night. So it's creating that whole experience, if you want to call it that, an experience.
Now, recently they completed the jetty on Little Tobago, well, refurbished the jetty, I should say, so that it's a whole lot of an easier access. Because let me tell you, the way it was for the last few years, it was very treacherous and very dangerous. But I mean, kudos to the division for being able to finally sort that out. What other amenities are you hoping to place on Little Tobago? Because of course we know we have to balance those amenities with conserving the island, making sure it remains that very eco-friendly tourist site.
So some of the residents would have raised concerns about the different lights in the night.
Yes.
And it's affecting some of the birds. Some would have been speaking about the noise pollution during the construction phase when they were doing on the jetty. So we have a list of all the different issues and aspects, so it's to treat with them. The different packages, I would say, is that when you go across there or go to Speyside when they have the different experience, is that come and experience a place where you could have something in the east, rather than everything is done in the west. An experience where you can come in the daytime, enjoy the different tours, do the boat tour, go and watch some very unique birds, things like this scarlet, the bird of paradise, all these different types of things. There's plans to look at the building in terms of, I know some residents speak about a museum to see the different aspects of it. The tour operators, they have their own refined brand of how they do their different tours. No one tour is the same. So it's to kind of streamline all these things and have packages. You may just come for a day to watch the boat. You may come to enjoy a dive, watch boats, enjoy some food. So it's to create these packages while trying to attract the domestic tourists and as well as the regional people to come into the island really. That is the aim really.
And when do you hope to implement the system?
We're still in the consultation. It was mentioned last night that we're looking to do something in April for the Easter. I think that's a very good target. We definitely want to start it and see how it goes and build from that. Take some notes and build from that.
And how do you feel about the response that the stakeholders gave you last night?
I was very pleased actually by the amount of people that turned out. I was very pleased by the, there wasn't any bickering. The people came, they read, they said their piece, and we took it into consideration, and I believe it was good. We had a very good consensus. They all happy for it. We explained to them, what we're trying to do really. It will be led by the forestry, because they are the experts. And yeah, I believe that it's a very good package. In terms of the boat owners, building that whole people who are into the agro-tourism part of it. So it's going to be great.
And I know that area, and it was pointed out last night that, it's part of the legislation that whole Speyside area, it's designated as a marine park, as well as it now falls under the UNESCO Man and the Biosphere.
Yes.
What role those two things play in, making sure that we can create a package or we can ensure the conservation of the area? Because I think that is also the most important thing. While we want the tourism there, we have to balance it so that the environment is not impacted negatively.
Yeah. So there will have to be some training. There will have to be more public awareness as relates to the guys and them in terms of how they do their tours. The vessels that are carrying people, they will have to look at insurance in terms of getting stuff in place. We can assist those things, and in my other capacity as a surveyor, I can assist the vessels who have the TFT and get them changed over into TL.
Right.
Definitely because once you're dealing with cruise ships and these things, liabilities are very huge
And I think
part
we
of
need
it.
to have that
Yes.
conversation a
Yes.
bit more, because we often hear from our stakeholders, it's like, okay, well, we're not benefiting, or they're not choosing us, or they have issues in accessing the services from the cruise ship, but there has to be a structure in place.
Right. So what happens in order to access a tour on a cruise ship, or in order for somebody to know about your tour on a cruise ship, it must be done in a package form.
Yes.
Currently, the person who does the tours is a gentleman by the name of Cavallo. I'm not sure what the arrangement is, but however, it is. So what we're doing with the lure, and I'm putting some stuff out there. What we're doing with the lure is creating a package that we could give to him, so that he could package it and put it on the cruise ship. So when they book that tour, they will see what Tobago have to offer. That is how it works.
Yes.
So you could be dancing and playing pan outside. It's not really how it works in terms of getting your tour on the cruise ship. People come and they pay in advance when they go on the cruise ship for the different tours that is available, but they must be done in a structured manner.
And insurance is
yes,
extremely important.
It's mandatory. It's mandatory.
And could you explain why that is important?
So insurance on a whole gives coverage to a patron, the owner, and bystanders. In terms of they must have some sort of liability as relates to if they are injured, if the vessel is damaged, they must have some coverage. And cruise ship people are not going to enter into a tour where there's no liability. On that kind of,
and I know that, and that's partially because if something happens to a tourist while they're on land on a tour, they can face lawsuits and so on.
Well, yes, and also, the vessel will be kept back. The people can miss their trip because they'll have to go to the hospital, and the schedule must go on, so they will miss that trip completely. So it's a very ticklish thing. Even for vessels, ranging from jet skis to boats, all vessels must be insured, and they must be registered. So this is how it is in the first world status, and this is how it's supposed to be, so that tomorrow we're going to be speaking about the different regulations as relates to vessels and how to get your commercial fishing vessel, because we at TADCO have we have a mandate, and we also have a duty of care, being as how the capital of Paradise was the first vessel for the year in Trinidad and Tobago to get the commercial fishing license, which allows us to fish into international waters. Currently, the vessel is just off Brazil right now.
Wow.
Doing some fishing. They're doing pretty well. I spoke to them this morning. But I do not want TADCO to be alone with this. We have other boat owners who I believe that can come up to the standard in terms of getting the license. We want to assist them. So that's why we have fisheries from Trinidad coming to explain to them how to get the commercial license. And then we have maritime coming as well to explain to them, boat owners, the different regulations that are coming to better assist them in terms of getting your TT number, because there's a big difference between TFT, which is not a registration, it's only a record for fisheries, and then getting a TT number. We will explain the benefit of having a TT number and that type of thing. And then there are going to be some announcements which I will make as relates to how we can assist people in the long line industry.
Now, and also when it comes to the different registrations of vessel, that has something to do with the purpose for the vessel.
Yes.
And the vessel should be only used for that registered or licensed purpose, right?
Yes. So a fishing vessel only has one purpose, which is to fish.
To fish, yes.
You have the reef tour guys who do registers as TL, which is transportation launch, basically because they're carrying passengers. So they are a bit more rigid rules as relates to a fishing vessel, because you're only dealing with crew on a fishing vessel, whereas for the TL, you're dealing with the crew and passengers. Then there's the TT registration, which allows you to, it's considered so TT first is Trinidad and Tobago. It gives the vessel an identity, a nationality, and it also gives them coverage. So you're going to get something like a certificate of registration, which is going to speak about who owns the vessel. If the vessel is lost somewhere in another jurisdiction, they could just pull it up, TT, whatever, and it tells you who the owner is, where its origin, that type of thing, how much time it was transferred, that kind of thing. So I would say come out tomorrow, hear what we have to say, and you will see how we can build the island in terms of creating some nice capacity of the fishermen and the boat owners and that type of stuff. So it's going to be great.
And then why should fishermen not use their TFT vessels to, you know, let's say take a tour out on the reef and that sort of thing? Why should they?
Well, I know it's a very ticklish item in Tobago, you know.
Yes.
Persons using their
We see it all the
vessel.
time.
It is not safe because here's why. Your vessel must be designated, it must be designed in terms of stability, in terms of how to seat people. You must have life-saving appliances on board as relates to life jackets, life rings, a first aid kit, a fire extinguisher. You must have, and it must be surveyed in terms of how often you check the engine, the different parts you change. It's a long, and then you have to inspect the vessel for seaworthiness. It's a very, very unique thing. I would discourage people from doing that. If you want to do tours, just do the correct thing. Change your vessel to TL or TT. It's very simple. It's not difficult at all. Last year, I would have assisted a number of people, free of course, but it's not difficult. Do the right thing and to avoid issues, because at sea, when you are injured or damaged, you are at the mercy of the current. You are at the mercy of whatever the weather is out there. I have been out there and had vessels shut down, and it's not a nice feeling. So overloading is something that we need to be very careful of. You don't want to be in a case where you coulda, woulda, didn't, you know. So it's I'm really hoping that people could move away from that type of behavior, you know, so to avoid issues, because it's very dangerous.
Yes, and then there's also that damage that does to the overall tourism product in Tobago. So can you give us the details about that consultation tomorrow?
So the consultation tomorrow will take place at 10 o'clock at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. We're going to be having some presentations from the Fisheries Trinidad in terms of how to acquire a commercial fishing license so that you can take your vessel into international waters, create a product, and different byproducts that will come out of it. And then you will have a presentation by Maritime Service Division, who is responsible for registration of vessels. And they are basically responsible for all ships coming into Trinidad and Tobago in terms of meeting certain requirements. Just to give an example, so when the cruise ship and these things come into our waters, they have to abide by the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. So Maritime Service will play a key role in terms of what they're supposed to have on those things. So come and hear what we have to say. Again, there's going to be some announcements in terms of what TATCO could do for the long line industry in Tobago. And I think it's going to be a great aspect of it. I think that we would have done well in terms of the capital of paradise.
Yes.
And right now we are the guys on them, so we actually embarked on some trainees. So we're thinking to do at least 12 trips for the year, 12 to 13 trips, depending on how things go. And during that period, we must have at least 6 trainees that we have trained. So we're going to be having some nice conversations tomorrow as to how it will impact and help persons who own these type of vessels, people who want to invest in these types of vessels.
Great. And then as for the consultations regarding the implementation of a user fee and a structure for using the Tobago, can people reach out to you to, you know, make their recommendations? Because I know there's a lot of other people around in Tobago that are concerned.
Yes, we are there willing. They can reach out to myself, Ricardo Alfred, or you can reach out to the Forestry Division through Mr. Darren Henry. And we will take your consideration, because it's an ongoing thing that we have to work with the villagers, we have to work with the various stakeholders, the village councils, the tour guides, the reef tour operators, the hotels. It's creating that package that, how do we market Tobago? How do we reduce our costs on the state? I mean, 50,000 a month is...
That's a high cost.
Yeah, but then you have to look at the overall cost. It's 600,000 a year, you know? Yes. So it's something that we need to really work on, and these monies can go back into the pockets of the residents. So definitely, you know, we could do some nice marketing there.
All right, great. We're certainly looking forward to that. There's some great things happening. It's nice to have that structure, not just in place for our tourism products, but for our fishing industry, because that's also really important as we move forward towards a better food security here in Tobago. All right, well, thank you so much, Mr. Ricardo Alfred. And viewers, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll be continuing our discussions.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Welcome to the March Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Le March Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Scary. Yeah, boom. Jesus Christ, mother walk. Look at people behavior. Yeah, we getting on bad, we up in your area. Yeah, when you see we coming, you know it's danger. Yeah, we better than you and all of your neighbor. Yeah, and we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. Cause we no afraid, we no afraid.
Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Yes, viewers, now we are getting into some business conversations now. In December, we had the first Let the People Speak forum where we heard from the business community about some of the concerns they had about what's been going on within our space, especially as it relates to the impact of the politics, impact of this current administration of the THA on their ability to do business here in Tobago. But now we are moving into the second Let the People Speak 2, the second conversation with the Chamber Business Development Program. And to speak with us a little bit on it, we have none other than Miss Janet Parks, who is a member of the Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Candice. Thank you very much.
Now, we had the first meeting in December, and there was a whole lot said. There was a lot of issues that were aired from the business community, some of the things that many of us here in Tobago did not know what was going on.
Right.
But we had an opportunity to hear from you all. Now, since those issues were aired, have you been able to meet with anybody from the THA to, you know, have further conversations as to a solution?
No, and that has been deliberate because prior to that meeting, we did have a lot of consultations as far as we were concerned. And what the Chamber has basically been doing now, our position now is to basically engage the business community to see how we as a business community can move forward. Because we recognize we are the ones who are in the kitchen feeling the heat.
Yes.
So we cannot just sit and wait. Yes, we want to engage the political directorate, the state, but we cannot sit and wait on that to happen, right? So we're basically taking things in our own hands, and we're getting the community together to say, okay, let's see what we can do for ourselves to move ourselves forward, right? So coming out of that first meeting, we recognized that finance is a very critical issue because the banks are very reluctant right now to lend to businesses because we're seeing what is happening. Tobago no longer has a rating with Moody, the impact of COVID, and there are a lot of factors that have now basically been crippling the operations of businesses in Tobago. But we can't just sit back and allow ourselves to crumble.
Yes.
So that has led us into our second conversation, which takes place today, and we're going to be looking at financing solutions for businesses specific to Tobago.
Is there anything, any proposals that you guys are going with this evening to speaking with the people? Any ideas that you have on your own, or are you just hoping that some of the people that come here come with ideas?
No, actually, we are very organized in that way. We have 3 presenters. So the first presenter will be talking about the demand for business financing. In other words, we want to establish why there is a need for financing business. Right, we need capital to grow, we need capital to meet our recurrent needs, we need capital to develop, right? So we have a speaker who's going to be dealing with that. That's Ms. Kate Trotman. She's a business entrepreneur. Then we're going to look at upgrading the credit union movement. Now, this is very new because traditionally, the credit unions do not get involved in financing business. But there's now an opportunity there. So Dr. Winford James is going to be talking about looking at upgrading the existing credit union infrastructure to be able to finance business. So that should also be a very interesting conversation. And then we have Mr. Ho-Choi Charles, who will be talking about innovative development financing, because we recognize that the way that the commercial banks are structured, we thank God for them, but the way they are structured is really not conducive to business development. They have their own guidelines. They too are a business, but they're governed by the central bank. So they just cannot do what they want. They have to follow the guidelines of the central bank because they're licensed. So we want to move out of that box and see how we can come up with creative ideas, creative solutions that are really tailored, that are really geared to funding businesses.
Now, as you mentioned the credit union earlier, are the credit unions structured in such a way that they can actually finance business?
Well, that's what we're going to hear about this evening.
Okay.
So that is why we want people to come out. Dr. Winford James is synonymous with the credit union movement. So we are waiting. We're looking forward to that presentation in particular because, as I said, traditionally, they're not designed to fund businesses to any large extent. So obviously, like everyone else, they now have to be creative and that kind of thing, and that is what the conversation is this evening from his perspective. How can they upgrade their current offerings to now get into this very lucrative area of funding businesses in Tobago?
Now, will that fall under the remits of the central bank, or how does that work in terms of, you know, who governs?
Right. So again, I don't want to steal Dr. James's thunder, so that's why we're going to invite everybody to really come out and to participate in that conversation. So we want to invite all the other credit unions. We want you to be there this evening, 4 o'clock, at the Scarborough Library to join into that conversation because it is interesting. It is interesting, but I am not qualified to venture into that field. Dr. James is. So we're going to really, we look forward to hear what he has to say.
What about in regards to, the business community? Since you had the first meeting in December, has there anything changed within the business community? Has there been a resolve to unite more towards finding a solution to some of the issues that you all are facing?
All right, so that's a very deep question, because one thing is very clear. The Christmas season that we had, I think, has been the worst. Now, if you do not have cash flowing in your economy, obviously the power of spend is not there. So that there has been a common cry in terms of what transpired over the Christmas season. Sales were flat, to put it very good, right? But sales were basically going south in most cases. People saw a little difference maybe the last 2 days before Christmas, nothing significant. So from that standpoint, in terms of whether there has been anything significant in terms of generating revenue, the answer is no. In terms of how do we continue to mobilize, I just want to say that the Chamber of Commerce is not a political animal, right? We get blamed all the time that we're political. We are not, and I want to set the record straight this morning. Our members have different political persuasions, and we're not interested in that. When you come to the Chamber, we talk about business. How can we develop Tobago? How can we develop each other? How can we unite to make Tobago a better place, right? So that is where the conversation is. So, and that's one of the reasons why we have launched this series, to reach out to every business owner, to those who are not yet in business, those who are already in business, those who are looking to move out of business and go elsewhere, because we also have that set of people who are totally frustrated, who have no hope. And there are others of us who said, listen, no, give us an opportunity. It may not be 1 year, it may take 2 years, it may take 5 years. But give us an opportunity to unite and to rebuild the economy of Tobago.
So the Let the People Speak 2 is happening tonight, this evening?
Let the People 2 is happening today at 4 p.m. The Scarborough Library from 4 to 7 p.m. After the presentations are made, you have an opportunity to make your contributions. We want meaningful contributions that can move the process forward, right? We're really trying to stay away from the naysayers. So we're encouraging everyone, even though our focus is on businesses, we're encouraging everyone, once you have something that's meaningful, that can help us to move our process forward in terms of reviving the business sector, we want to see you at the Scarborough Library this evening at 4 o'clock.
And you don't have to be a member of the Chamber.
You do not have to be a member of the Chamber. And we're also hoping that coming out of this, we can increase our membership, because we really need the numbers. We really need the numbers to really move the processes along, right? So coming out of the first Talk the People series, this is what has come out in terms of one of the primary issues, funding. And coming out of today, we don't know what the third one is going to be. But I just want to say we're going to continue to have this series for as long as it takes, until, and maybe even when the economy has turned around, to ensure that the business sector remains vibrant.
Right.
Because the government cannot do it alone. We expect them to be facilitators of the business. We expect them to be partners with us. But we can't wait for them to catch that vision. So in the meantime, we have to do what we have to do to get our businesses back up and running.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Janet Parks, for being on with us and for giving us that perspective. And viewers, if you are a business owner out there, if you're associated with credit unions, come out this afternoon at 4 p.m. at the Scarborough Library. All right, so don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue our discussions.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if you're nice, can't be damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Rest assured, helped me to cope with the unexpected, provides financial help for final expenses. Rest assured, the affordable financial comfort plan. Tatil Life, guaranteed protection. Whole Life, help helps me secure their future, provides financial protection with added benefits. Whole Life, the affordable financial benefits plan. Tattoo Life, guaranteed protection.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
Scary. Yeah, boom. Jesus Christ, mother walk. Look at people behavior. Yeah, we getting on bad, we up in your area. Yeah, when you see we coming, you know it's danger. Yeah, we better than you and all of your neighbor. Yeah, and we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. We no afraid, we no afraid, we no afraid nothing. How we no afraid, we no afraid.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia.
Let's go, go.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, now you heard about the business community, and we heard about just some changes that we're hoping to have in the tourism industry, especially with packaging our products, our tourism sites, especially with Little Tobago and so on are concerned. But here's an opportunity for you who are out there that are in the food industry, some things that you need to know about before you could go out and start to sell your food, because we know Tobago is full of the best cooks and that sort of thing. So, but you cannot sell your foods without having your food batch, whether it be food itself, drink, treats. You have to have your food badge. So to tell us a bit about it, we have Public Inspector 4, none other than Mr. Ricardo Bob. Good morning and welcome to you.
Candice. Good morning. It's always a privilege to be here, to share.
So we're speaking about getting your food badges. The process is now open for this year's food badges.
Yes, it is. Actually, we started about 2 weeks ago. We do it every Thursday. And so far, we've had over 200. We do over 100 a day, literally.
Now, what is the total of people that are involved in the food industry from your records?
All right, so we have between 3,500 and 5,000 registered food handlers. Now, we know that there are actually more than that, because sometimes you have people in the cottage industries and like the fishermen and so on, who we may not always get. But we're talking here about going to closer to 5,000.
And so you've only had 200 registered, so that means it's a whole lot of people that are...
A whole lot. By July, we'll be close to that number. As a matter of fact, because Carnival is very early this year, we are going to have a lot. So probably by Carnival, we'll have over 2,000.
How important is it for people to get their food badges, or why is it so important?
Extremely important. Now, the one thing, usually I say to people that human beings have to do is to eat. I mean, you have to breathe and other things, but you must eat to sustain life. And whenever food is being prepared for sale, then there are conditions that must be met to protect public health. And so to ensure that we have safe food, then we have to educate people. Because it's not like you're preparing food just for your family, your brothers or sisters or whatever, but for the public. And so because we have sometimes food being prepared in a large amount, you must have good standards, time temperature control, hot holding, cold holding facilities. These are very important things. Hygiene, personal hygiene, as a matter of fact. Personal hygiene is one of the biggest challenges that we have, because people can't see microbes. They think they're okay. And then you have things like cross-contamination. So standards are very important.
Tell me about, just being able, how does the food badge hold the vendors accountable to those health and safety standards?
Yes, it does, because actually it is saying that they would have gone through the process of training. Now, the gap in the process is where people get knowledge but don't always practice. Yes. So when we educate the public, the beautiful thing is that they can now be eyes and ears out there as well, because now you have a choice. If a person is registered, they're supposed to have certain standards. Yeah? And so the thing is, the money is in your pocket before it gets into their pocket. So we have choices, and we can hold people accountable.
Now, for the public themselves who are watching on, you know, what should they look at for their vendors, whether it be around carnival time, whether it be Friday night on the streets of Scarborough? What should they look for before purchasing their food?
All right, number one is that food handlers are supposed to display their badge, and it is color coded, so it's easy to identify.
And every year has a different color?
Every year has a different color. All right, so that's number one. The next thing is that you look for general hygiene. A person's head is covered, they are attired properly. You know, light colored clothing, well covered, no long nails, jewelry, you know, in terms of the premises, clean, hand washing facilities, things like that. Based on, if you have, let's say, a person selling pies, they may not have hand washing facilities. But, you know, they're selling from a cart or a business or so on. They're supposed to have these things. And what we find is that in Tobago, food sale is on the rise.
Yes,
in
it
all
is.
the communities, especially in the night. So be careful, because the time temperature management issue, if the food is prepared too early and then held at inappropriate temperatures, those things are of concern. Your packaging, if people are touching the food and so on, be always mindful of those things.
I mean, and there's something that people don't know is that, you know, bacteria and so on, they multiply twice every 20 minutes.
Yes, and not just that. Let us say you start with one bacteria now. Within 24 hours, you get over 1 million, because you see the original one still keeps multiplying once conditions are okay. So they multiply by geometric progression. So every 20 minutes you have 1, 2, then in another 20 minutes you have 4, and then 16, and so on. That's how they do. But besides the bacteria, we also have parasites and fungi and different organisms that can create problems. And the hygiene aspect is very important. Hygiene of the food and hygiene of the person. And one of the things I want to stress is what we call sanitizing, because many people clean and they have a little misunderstanding about cleaning and sanitizing. So cleaning is removing dirt and soil. Those are physical things most times you can see, but it is in sanitizing that you actually get rid of your microbes.
Right.
Yeah, so you must sanitize. You could sanitize using chemicals or using heat based on what you're doing. So your work surfaces, you may be able to use heat, but if you're doing salads, you can't use heat. You may need to do some chemicals, and there's a wide variety of things out there that you can use. And most people use a chlorine base, because that's very effective against bacteria.
Now, how can people, for those viewers that are watching and they have gotten into the food business in recent months and so on, how can they access the services to just make sure that they are following the proper health and safety protocols, as well as, you know, get their food badge? What's that process?
All right, so to get a food badge, you need to have 2 passport size photographs. You need to have a medical done, ID, it costs $20, but you must make an appointment. The appointments are made at our office, corner Robinson and Young Street, the old Scarborough Health Center. You can come there and make the appointment. You can call 639-1433. Right now, that number is down. It's supposed to be back up by today. But if you call and you don't get, you can always come to the office and make the appointment. Now, I must say that because we have so many people, if your appointment is in February or in March, just remember that a lot of people were there before you.
Yes.
And so we must serve them. All right, but it is our desire to do as many as we can before the carnival. And then we have Easter coming up as well. So we continue every Thursday. We do about 4 sessions per day, which takes us all day. Like I said, we've been doing over 100 persons per day. Yeah.
And it is extremely important.
Extremely important. We must remember that we must have standards. Just as whenever people go to any facility, they want to have standards. The issue of food is very important. So far, we have not been getting significant outbreaks in terms of foodborne illness, and we don't want to have that. We have, this is a tourism-driven country, and those things can really put a dent in our services and so on. So we don't want to have that. We want to maintain excellence. We want to be the best in the country.
All right, great. And of course, I mean, there's so many linkages when you talk about, you know, how the way we operate even if we're not directly in the tourism business, we're still part of it in some indirect way. I mean, so those standards are important, and they make a difference for anybody, whether it be us locals or that visitor that's coming in.
Yes.
So if you're in the food business, go and get your food badge. Well, you've had the information there. They have the support there, all that you need to make sure that you are adhering to these standards and you are executing your business in the healthy, safety way.
Yes,
And
yes.
so thank you so much, Mr. Bob, for being on with us. It was such a pleasure. And viewers, we're getting ready to, wrap this segment. But before I go, I want to make a correction on the Let the People Speak forum. Ms. Janet Parks said Mr. Hoche Charles was supposed to be speaking about innovation. However, he would not be able to attend tonight, so it would be Ms. Dr. Japanis James who will be speaking in his place. So, and that's happening at 4 o'clock this afternoon at the Scarborough Library. But before we go, I want to get into that interview about Little Tobago, that experience of Little Tobago that I had with Mr. Newton George, our world-famous bird watcher here in Tobago, and perhaps one of our best tour guides here on the island. I mean, he's somebody that's well recognized internationally. And you're going to find out why, especially when it comes to Little Tobago, when it comes to, seeing those birds and experiencing that nature, that beautiful treasure that we have here in Northeast Tobago. So for those of you who have not seen Little Tobago, or not experienced Little Tobago, this is one way you can experience it through me. But I want to encourage you to actually get out there, see for yourself, see what Tobago has to offer. It's more than just Store Bay and what's on Pigeon Point and what's down on the west end. All right, so we're going to get into that now, but that's it for me for this part of it. And we're going to have that interview now. So have a safe and wonderful day, viewers. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. I am Candace Jackson, and I am on Little Tobago, out its face side, just enjoying the views, enjoying the feel. And viewers, let me tell you something. I've been here several times. It's really one of those magical places here in Tobago. But the best time to be here on Little Tobago is at sunrise. Let me tell you, that sun just peeking up through the hills and so on. Even as we're going on the water, it wasn't always, sometimes it's a little bit rough, but that's okay. That's why we have our very good boat captain, Troy, who made sure that the ride was as smooth as possible. But that sunrise, man, it's amazing. You need to be here around sunrise. Try it, because Little Tobago is a very special place. It is a bird sanctuary. So if you're a bird enthusiast, of course you want to come here and check out the birds. But not just that. If you're just somebody to just love nature, love just being outside, look at this. You can't get better than this. All right, so yes, we are on Little Tobago, and then last night we would have had consultations regarding the implementation of a fee for Little Tobago, to visit to Little Tobago, as well as a structure for how it should be managed. So let's, as I'm taking a breath, let me introduce you to none other than award-winning tour guide here, especially when it comes to bird watching, none other than Mr. Newton George. Good morning and welcome to you.
Welcome, Candice, and it's a pleasure having you on this island, Little Tobago.
Yes. So first of all, I mean, for those viewers that are watching and then enjoying this, you've seen Little Goat Island, and then the town of Speyside, well, village of Speyside, town of Speyside, whatever you want to call it. What is the history of Little Tobago?
Okay, Candice, this island was a privately owned island by an English guy by the name of Sir William Ingram. And when Sir William Ingram went to Papua New Guinea, where the birds of paradise originated from, he thought it was important to introduce them on Tobago because they were destroying the birds, and they were very colorful birds. So he came to Tobago looking at this island with the same climatical conditions of those of Papua New Guinea. And then he brought 12 pairs of bird of paradise on this island, and then he changed the name of the island from Little Tobago to Birds of Paradise Island, and it has become a very, very important island for birders, especially foreigners. They do come to this island to look at the birds.
And of course, viewers, if you want to know what the bird of paradise looked like, because unfortunately when we had Hurricane Flora in 1963, all of the birds as well as the food that they fed on was destroyed. However, there are specimens of the bird at the Fort King George, in the museum at the Fort King George, so you want to go and check that out. But, like I said, we're here now, and the Little Tobago Island is under the management of the THA. What has been happening since?
Well, since it has become under the THA, they have done some really development work on this island. Within the last year, they have put rails from on the beach. They have put rails from on the beach, so you can hold on the rails to come up to the main house.
Especially at the jetty.
The jetty has been repaired.
Listen, you no longer have to break your foot getting off that boat.
Correct, the jetty has been repaired. The building also has been repaired. And they have started to do some repairs on the major bird site, the Birds of Paradise Part 2, which is the major area for photographers to photograph these birds. So they are doing some really important work on the island. And this is why it's important that they put a fee in place for people to come to this island, because it has been done internationally. Wherever you go in this world, people pay to go to areas, things like this. And Tobago offers, you can see, a major site.
Yes.
So people should pay to come to this island.
So as we're taking a walk, I mean, because I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where we are going to be seeing some of the toilet facilities, washroom facilities going to be placed in here?
Yes, they are. Presently, it is not in use, but because the way the house is constructed. But I think they can use solar panels with some kind of something to get the water to go into the washrooms. And it's easy. It can be easily done. That's an easy way in getting the washrooms workable. Presently, they are not usable because the tanks are not catching the water, or not getting any water to go into the tanks. So presently, we encourage patients to come into the island, make sure they use the washrooms ashore before they come to the island.
Right, and of course, again, that is, we want to emphasize, that's one reason why we need to, have that fee here, so that we can ensure that we can buy the equipment and make sure that we have the maintenance here, so that when visitors come, they are taken care of. There are some amenities here, not too much, because of course we want to keep the island natural.
Correct, Candice. I think that will also help to enhance the beauty of the island, where you can see the aesthetics on the island as well. It's very important that people pay, because I can offset a lot of costs and using the monies that they paid to do some work on the island.
So how many birds of paradise were introduced to the island back in 1909?
Well, originally the name of the island was Little Tobago, and it was because of the introduction of the greater birds of paradise. We had a name change from Little Tobago to Birds of Paradise Island. And in 1909, 24 greater birds of paradise pairs of birds of paradise were introduced to the island. And this was mainly because, when Sir William Ingram went to the Aru Islands of Papua New Guinea and seen where these people were slaughtering these birds, he thought it was important to preserve the species. Hence the reason he brought the 24 pairs of bird of paradise onto this island. In 1986, sorry, because of the hurricane in 1963, the natural habitat was affected by the hurricane, and they died eventually. The last sighting of a bird of paradise onto this island was by me in November '81.
Wow. And then right here, was this an attempt to...
Yes. Well, there were plans to reintroduce the birds back onto the island, and they had built a cage. The reason for building a cage was to put the birds in captivity, to acclimatize to the condition before you release them out in the wild, which never materialized, as I said.
And as we're walking here, we're also seeing a lot of feathers on the ground.
These are not feathers, these are sea island cotton.
Okay, no.
This island used to be a major producer of cotton.
Okay.
For linens, I think in the 15th century, was a major producer of sea island cotton, and this is it here.
Oh, okay. I totally did not see that tree. But then again, that's why I am with the best tour guide ever. And
there's a fruit here. I'm not sure if you know this fruit here. I'm going to try to get one for you. It's called pingwing.
Pingwing.
It's a fruit that it's a fruit they can do make local wine, or juice. Candice, you can also try this.
Okay, so just eat the flesh, right?
Yeah, yes, just take piece. Yeah, take piece as well.
It's sour and sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's called
see.
ping wing. The people know it as ping wing. Good for local wines and juice as well.
All right.
This one also leads you to some nesting seabirds as well. The red-billed tropic birds and the brown boobies. But this is the one that people use most of the time.
What other species of animals do we find on the island?
Oh, this island only has one species of snake. It's called the cook-tree boa or the cascabel. It's a small brown snake. But you
very harmless, right?
Yeah. The only mammal you will find on this island are bats. There's also an endemic gecko. It's called the ocellated gecko. And there are about 2 or 3 varieties of it on this island as well. If you are lucky, you're going to see one on this walk.
Well, we hope that we are lucky because, I mean, the viewers would love to see that. But even if we don't, I mean, it's a reason for them to come here and see for themselves, you know.
And I think locals are not taking the advantage of coming to this island because it's such a unique island. And it's also, coming to the island, you can also do some snorkeling. Not just coming on the island only. You can snorkel, you can do a reef tour.
There are 2 reefs. There are actually 2 reefs between here and Speyside, right?
We have the Japanese garden and we have the Angel Reef. And these are beautiful sights. You can also sometimes you're lucky to see turtles, even manta rays. Yeah, so this is one of another reason why it's important that they introduce a fee to come to this island is that the major one is the birds. And as I said, you can also do snorkeling. You can do a reef tour as well. So it's very, very important that people come. And people, we Trimbigonians, please, we like things free. Please, let's change that mindset and try to do something that can enhance our island by paying a fee to come to this island, really.
Because one of the reasons why it stays this beautiful as well is because there are people coming here at least three times a week to maintain it.
These are the guys who are doing the maintenance and they are doing wonderful work. You cannot ask these guys, you really cannot ask these guys to do much more than what they are doing. They are really doing a wonderful work in maintaining the island.
Right, so we're on one of the sides of the island because, you know, because of its shape, you have so many different sides. And Mr. George, where are we going? This is a very steep area.
Yes, Candy, it's very steep. And as you rightfully said, it's the island is like a star shape.
Yes.
But I'm taking you now on to look at the red-billed tropic birds on their nest. Here's where I'm taking you. So Candice, be careful when you go down. Hold on to the trees as support.
So what are some things that are special about these birds?
Well, one, you can, once they are nesting, you can get very, very close to them. They cannot fly off their nest because they carry very short web feet. So they struggle to walk. So hence the reason you can get very close to them.
I don't think they struggle more than me to walk down this hill.
And I'm just taking my photographer to see one of the birds. Candice, you can also come around, pass me, stand down there, and I'll show you. And you look here, 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 look here.
Oh wow!
This is one of the birds nesting, and this is the red-billed tropic bird. And as I said before, once they are nesting, you can get right onto them. They cannot move because of their web feet they carry. It's a beautiful bird.
Very, very precious.
Colorful. There's also a white-tailed tropic bird that is very rare on this island as well.
I mean, what I'm looking at too, and I don't know if we could come back down with the camera, but I mean, how long that tail is.
Oh yeah, I will say the tail, it's about between 12 to 15 inches long.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's also another one nesting here as well.
Yes.
There's also another one nesting here as well. Let me just move the stick.
Yes.
And to move this thing so you can get a better view of him. You see, as I said, you can get very close to them. They cannot move. They won't go away.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And are these the females?
Well, it's difficult to tell you the sex because they're identical color. However, one of the major features in them, they also change, the male and female also incubate the eggs as well. So they take turn on the nest.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are doing a roundabout. We're not going back where we came from.
Yes, we're going back up the steep hill.
Not right away, we are going down still a little to see if we can see some more of these birds. And you got to be careful of, there are a lot of cacti in the area, so be careful. Again, you're looking at the sea island cotton again that we passed first. You see them here as well.
Are these native to the island?
Yeah, they are native. If you look at the island all along, oh, this one have a chick. This one have a chick.
Okay, all right, wait.
This one have a chick.
All right, viewers, so we're on a bird, one of the birds here that has a chick. So Mr. Newton George is going to see if we can see the chick.
Let me see if we can.
And if you can look, right now I'll tell you.
The chick is right here, look,
right
look at the chick.
under the wing.
Of the bird, yeah.
And if you notice, the beak of the chick is not yet red.
Yeah.
So it develops the red color after it becomes, as it's becoming an adult.
Okay. The major feature of this bird, Candice, is that it takes an incubation period. It's about 28 days, and the young one takes about 10 weeks before it fledges from the nest. So it's a long process, really.
Absolutely precious. Now, as we're continuing along the trails, now they were previously unmarked, but they are going to be marked pretty soon.
Well, what the forestry department has done was to name the trails where they see the most birds normally. We also have Yellowtail Walk, which is the Crested Pendola.
And this one?
This one is Alexander Bay, to Alexander Bay.
Where you can see the sunrise. I don't know if the camera can see that a little bit. It's peeping up there.
Yeah, we can see the sunrise.
I'm enjoying this morning, by the way.
There's also Bird of Paradise Part 1 and Part 2. There's also George Ride, which is my dad. They also have Yellowtail Walk and quite a few other birds. They have named them just after the birds as well.
Right.
And I think Darren said, who is the Assistant Conservator of Forestry, they will also mark one of the trails, Newton George Trail, because of my legacy on the island. As a matter of fact, where we are here presently, where we are standing presently, this is my legacy on the island. This is the last thing I did before I left this job, to establish this view. And this is the #1 view where everybody comes to, to look at the birds. If you come here, you see as we are here now, you're not seeing much birds, but come 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll be blown away. You'll be blown away with the amount of birds you're going to see here. So what I can really say is that Tobago is sitting on a gold mine, and we should really do all in our powers to enhance this island. And it's really a beautiful island.
Viewers, just take a look at this. Oh my goodness, I am in awe right now.
And also in the distance you can see St. Giles as well.
Yes.
Another birding destination as well. Look at this area. My people, look at this area. Look what Tobago has to offer. And we're not making the full use of this island. There are much more we can do. There are much more to be done. And as I said, to make this island the most beautiful island
on the planet. Well, I think that's just such a perfect note to end this conversation and this tour. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. It is my pleasure to be here, and of course be joined by, I mean, the accolades cannot be enough for this man, Mr. Newton George. I mean, get hooked up with him. And I don't know if you want to leave your number.
Yes, I can. I will do. But it was a pleasure having you this morning here. And I hope that you'll continue to visit and you'll also encourage other people to visit
All the
as
time,
well.
all the time. So how can people get in contact with you?
Well, Candice, I'll give you a card. My number is 754-7881, or you can see me on my website is newtongeorge.com, and my email is newtongeorge.com, and my website is newtongeorge.com as well.
Just remember Newton George, viewers. All right. Well, I am going to take in this view more because trust me, after that walk, this is just such an amazing a prize to just come and view and just smell the air and feel the air and the sunrise coming up. I can't say it enough. Absolutely beautiful. This is Candice Jackson signing out for Out and About in Tobago, but don't go anywhere because there's more coming up after the break.